Odin, you know him as the All-Father, the mightiest of all the Norse gods. But I know him as a dude who hung himself from a tree and plucked out his own eye, all to get smarter and avoid a future where he's eaten by Loki's son, a giant wolf. Yeah, it will all make sense in a minute. Let's start in the beginning of Norse mythology, when there was just chaos. Above and below the chaos was eternal ice and fire, and eventually the two merged in the chaos to form the giant Ymir and a cow, Audumla. From Ymir's sweat, more giants were born, and the cow licked an icy rock into the shape of the first god, Buri. Buri thought that there must be a better way to have children than sweating and licking rocks, so he got sweaty with a giantess and licked her rocks, and from that, Odin and his two brothers were born, who then killed Ymir, and his blood caused a flood that drowned all other giants, including Odin's mom, and Odin and his brothers then used Ymir's corpse to form the 9 realms. Long sentence for backstory, but you can see why the giants kind of held a grudge against Odin afterwards, yeah? The only 2 remaining giants fled to Jotunheim and repopulated it with a lot of sweating and rock licking. The giants became better known as Jötnar, or Jötun, singular, and weren't necessarily giant beings. They often looked human-like and were the forever enemies of the gods in Asgard. Odin, meanwhile, ruled over all the realms from his throne in Asgard with his all-seeing eyes. He married Frigg and allowed a giant, a Jötun, to live on Asgard as a god he became blood brothers with for reasons unknown and literally lost 2 times in all texts, but a blood brother who Odin swore would always have a place at his side. That blood brother was Loki, who would later cause the death of Odin's sons, while his own son would cause the death of Odin himself, but Odin didn't know that yet, because apparently he wasn't all that all-seeing. Odin couldn't see fate itself yet. That only came way later, when he hung himself from the life tree Yggdrasil for 9 days and 9 nights until he understood the magical runes of fate carved into it, which then gave him the ability to see the fate of the cosmos. And now Odin was able to see the end, Ragnarok, which ended with him being devoured by a wolf. Odin figured out that that wolf was Fenrir, Loki's son, so he dealt with that, but I discussed that in detail in my Loki video, and then went on a mission. Odin wanted to fight fate itself and prevent Ragnarok, but for that, he needed more wisdom. So Odin wandered the world in search of knowledge and just to learn. He even had 2 ravens that would fly anywhere and see anything he couldn't see and learn things he couldn't learn, because Odin was full of questions seeking answers. That's why Odin is called the Wanderer and depicted as a wanderer. That was his disguise while on Earth. Odin devoted his life to seeking the wisdom to stop Ragnarok and save everyone, even if it meant learning from his enemies. So he sought out Mimir, the wisest of all the Jötnar, who drinks from a well of wisdom at the foot of Yggdrasil every morning. Odin wanted a drink to become wise, but Mimir demanded one of Odin's all-seeing eyes as a sacrifice. That rhymes.
Because I spit hot fire.
Odin ripped his eye out on the spot, drank, and became the wisest being in the cosmos, which ultimately led him to learn that fate is inevitable. Ragnarok was bound to happen, and it would be signaled by the death of his favorite son. Not Thor. I know some of y'all into the story right now, watching like, Thor, no. But no, Thor dies during Ragnarok. Odin's favorite son was Baldur, the god of light. Still, Odin was not to go down without a fight, so he collected the strongest warriors from all over the world in Valhalla, where the souls of those who died a warrior's death on earth were taken to forever fight against one another, aka the world's most epic and longest training arc. All in preparation to one day fight along the gods during Ragnarok. And then it happened. Odin's favorite son, Baldur, died through Loki's evil trickery and scheming. Odin punished his blood brother Loki by having him tied to a rock in eternal torture, but he knew he was only delaying the inevitable. Baldur's death sealed the dawn of Ragnarok, and while Loki was being tortured, he had all the time to muster up all the hatred needed to get his revenge, a plan that would see Loki leading his monstrous powerful children and an army of the Jötnar and an army of beings from hell and the army of the fire giant Surtr into Asgard to start the battle against the gods and end the cosmos, which I will cover in detail in my Ragnarok video.